biggest air show ever held in the Southern Hemisphere, with 350 aircraft from 20 countries, 270 aviation exhibitors, and over 12,000 square metres of pavilions. Hi, I'm Ken Sutcliffe, and this is the Australian Bicentennial Air Show at the Richmond RAAF base in New South Wales. The show has attracted military and civilian aircraft from all over the world. You know, there's an old military saying that says the balloon's about to go up when something big's about to happen. Well, the balloon is going up on the Bicentennial Air Show, so hold tight.
Glass or wood. Rather, it's made from this, silica, a combination of the elements silicon and oxygen. Most of the planet's surface material constantly recycles. Only the continental crust persists, riding like a raft upon the moving layers below it. It floats because it's rich in silica and alumina, among the lightest of the world's major components.
Bicentennial Air Show. Not quite as ancient a concept as hot air balloons, but still old in aviation terms, is this Bristol F-2B fighter. The Bristol saw service over the trenches of France and Belgium in World War I. The theme of the Australian Bicentennial Air Show is yesterday, today and tomorrow. And there are quite a few old warbirds here, like this Fokker, the one made famous by the Red Baron. And this was its famous adversary, the Sopwith Pup, speedy and light World War I fighter. The first encounter the West was to have with this fighter bomber was when it came out of the sun on the 7th of December 1941 over Pearl Harbor. For the next 2 years, the Mitsubishi Zero seemed almost invincible. In the European theatre of war, the Messerschmitt 109 was a sight to be feared. Over 33,000 of them were produced, and they fought in the Battle of Britain against planes like this, the Supermarine Spitfire. The Spitfire is probably the most famous fighter plane in history. 245 of them saw service with the RAAF, where their power and performance became legend. The vintage and veteran aircraft display spans over 60 years of aviation history. Remember the Mustang, the de Havilland Vampire, the Sabre, and of course, the Douglas DC-3. Normally, of course, the public is not allowed near aircraft when they're flying. Here we have around 250,000 people within metres of aircraft, some of which are flying very fast indeed. And, as the tragic events that occurred at a German airshow proved earlier this year, you have to be ready just in case.
Well, at the moment, we've got with us senior officers from all of the emergency services from New South Wales, including the police, fire and ambulance. And we've also got our own military resources that are under my control. We've been practicing for 3 days, and before the air show started, we had a practice run-through using all our communications and so on. And that was the first time that we used it in earnest, and we don't want to do it again.
On a cold morning in May 1928, 4 men began what has been called the greatest flight ever made. The airframe was Dutch, from the famous Fokker company, and the 3 engines were mighty Wright Whirlwinds. The aircraft was, of course, the Southern Cross. piloted by Charles Om and Charles Kingsford-Smith. The flight was from San Francisco to Brisbane, which they completed in just over 83 hours flying time. The pioneering spirit has persevered in aircraft design with the Christian Eagle and the Rutan Defiant front and rear engine 5-seater that you can construct from a kit in your own backyard. But the pioneering spirit is nowhere more apparent than in the Royal Australian Air Force. The RAAF operates in extremely varied environments and climatic conditions. It buys its aircraft from manufacturers all over the world, like this Squirrel helicopter from Aerospatiale. More than 20 are registered in Australia, and it's in service with the RAAF and the Australian Navy.
The Royal Australian Air Force, this is without a doubt the major event, maybe major aviation event of our bicentennial year. Certainly it'll have tremendous spin-offs for us as far as recruiting is concerned, but it's anything but a mere recruiting exercise. This is, to put it in one single phrase, a celebration of Australian aviation. The Royal Australian Air Force has been a major part of our aviation history, and we're here to celebrate that. Nothing like this has ever been attempted before in Australia. Nothing like this has ever been attempted before in the Southern Hemisphere. Look around you, what we have here at Richmond, and I think you will see that we have never done anything like this before, and I doubt, short of 100 years from now, we're likely to do it again.
The intrepid gentlemen you see here are the Sky Dancers, the only civilian formation aerobatic team in Australia. They fly pit specials in a complicated program of crossovers, loops, stall turns, snap and barrel rolls. And for this, they have special clearance, so they can perform at ceilings down to 150 meters.